What is up, YouTube world, my fellow subscribers and people and new viewers watching this video? My name is Ghiman Mckinney. Appreciate all you guys for tuning into my channel today. Be sure to smash this like button right now if you're excited for the NFL season and you like this content. Subscribe to my channel if you're new as well. I do post a ton of great sports videos weekly and almost every single day if I can. And turn on post notifications too so you don't miss a single video. It's only right, guys. All right. We're going to preview and break down the Denver Broncos today. I'll go game by game on their schedule. I will tell you why I can find some wins and losses for the Denver Broncos in 2019-2020. We'll see if the Broncos can improve on what they did last year, if they will progress, or if they will regress. Okay, we'll just break down all the things. But first of all, I want to kind of talk about what happened last year, some of the players they brought in through the draft, things like that. Then we'll get into the schedule. And I'll tell you game by game where the Broncos will win games and lose games. Okay, so obviously the big theme for the Denver Broncos is pretty much ever since that one Super Bowl that Peyton Manning won them a couple years ago, what really have they done? They haven't really done much. Okay, they haven't really been back to the playoffs or anything like that. They haven't really been super relevant as far as competing for playoff spots and championships. They want to obviously get back to that point. And Denver has a loyal, big loyal fan base, okay? I know that John Elway and that organization wants to win. It's an organization that's used to winning. So, you know, winning 6 games like last year, that's not what the Broncos want to do. They want to continue to improve. And now, obviously, last year, the Broncos were so bad that they fired Vance Joseph, okay? Now, you brought in Vic Fangio to be your head coaches here, okay? Now, personally for me, when I initially saw that, I was not very high on Vic Fangio being hired for the Broncos. Not because I don't think he can be a good head coach. I'm not saying that. I think Vic Fangio is a decent head coach. But what I'm saying is that the Broncos already historically usually always have a very good defense. The last 3, 4, 5, 6 years, the Broncos always been near the top as far as elite defenses in the National Football League. They need to score points. They have not been able to score points. That's the reason why they have not won games. But what I will say is this. The defense is no longer at all going to be a question. I think the defense might hover around being a top 5 defense this coming year, because to me, like I said, Vic Fangio is the best defensive coordinator in all of football, in my opinion, right above Wade Phillips and a couple other people, okay? Now, obviously, like I said, Vic Fangio, he was the defensive coordinator of the Bears last year. He's been the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. He has a ton of experience. So, again, I think the defense will be intact, but again, this is just my personal preference. I would have hired an offensive coach, okay? That's just my opinion, okay? Now, as far as the Broncos go, you obviously didn't win a whole lot of games last year, but there were some bright spots for the Broncos in wake of a losing season, okay? You know, you had Courtland Sutton, okay? Your second-round pick from a year ago, who I was actually very, very high on, okay? I thought Courtland Sutton was a very good player in the draft, okay? He had 42 catches for 704 yards. That's pretty good for a rookie. Philip Lindsay, who went undrafted, okay? You found something in him because he had over 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns, okay? So you pretty much got your starting running back for the future. Bradley Chubb absolutely broke out this year. I don't know why enough people don't talk about Bradley Chubb these days. I mean, the guy's a stud. I mean, the defensive end at NC State had 12 sacks this year as a rookie. He's going to be a monster. Von Miller continues to show why he's one of the 10 best players in all the National Football League. One of the 2 or 3 best edge rushers / outside linebackers in all of football. Definitely going to be a Hall of Famer. Had 14.5 sacks this past year. Now, look, the big story in Denver is this quarterback situation. You know, what's going on with the quarterback situation for the Broncos? How are they going to score points? Because let's be real, the Jaguars, you can draft as many elite players you want on defense. Until you get a quarterback, you're not going to win games. Same with the Jets. Same with the Dolphins. You know, you get the point. All these in-depth franchises need a quarterback, and the Broncos have not had a very good, serviceable quarterback, at least since Peyton Manning. Now, last year, they thought Case Keenum was going to be that guy. Case Keenum obviously got the Minnesota Vikings to an NFC Championship game a couple years ago. Obviously didn't pan out very well this past year in Denver. Was not very good. I thought Case Keenum, from his own standards, underperformed, okay? But you sent him away to the Redskins, okay? And you traded for Joe Flacco. Now, personally, to me, at first I didn't like this move because I don't think Joe Flacco's that good. I don't think he's that good anymore. But what I will say is this. I think Joe Flacco's going to be motivated, okay? The way it turned out in Baltimore, you know, obviously he got his job taken by a rookie in Lamar Jackson, a pretty special rookie in Lamar Jackson, I might add, okay? But either way, Joe Flacco did get his job taken. There's a little bit of bitter taste in his mouth. I think that he's going to want to work hard, and I think that he's going to try to make things work in Denver. I think Joe Flacco is going to come motivated to Denver. But what I will say is I don't know why you really traded for him, okay? Now, again, Joe Flacco does provide some stability. He's an upgrade slightly over Keenum. Obviously, has won a Super Bowl. Okay, now, but the big thing is your draft, okay? I loved your draft, okay? Noah Fant, a great tight end out of Iowa. Definitely should catch some great passes from Joe Flacco, whoever the quarterback is going to be. Dalton Risner is a very good offensive lineman, a very flexible guy that I liked a lot in the draft. I thought the Broncos, I made a video titled Winners and Losers of the NFL Draft, and the Broncos were on that list. They drafted Draymond Jones out of Ohio State too, a very talented defensive tackle. But the big kicker is they drafted Drew Lock, quarterback out of Missouri. Okay, now Drew Lock, I think he has a lot of potential. To me, Drew Lock was the, I believe, 4th best quarterback on my board. Okay, I had Dwayne Haskins, I had Kyler Murray, I had Will Grier actually, and then I had what's his name? Drew Lock. I think Drew Lock has some potential, but I think Vic Fangio pretty much summed him up in a sentence. Okay, a couple weeks ago, Vic Fangio said he's not a QB yet. He's a hard-throwing pitcher who doesn't know how to pitch yet. That sums up Drew Lock perfectly, okay, because Drew Lock has a boatload of potential, but he just has not put it all together yet. So I think that Drew Lock, like I said, I think this is the perfect situation for him. Okay, first of all, Drew Lock definitely fits the Denver mold. He's a big, strong arm quarterback that will take a ton of shots downfield, has a cannon for an arm, can make all the throws in the world. Sometimes when you watch Drew Lock play, I mean, a touchdown he had versus Alabama in the college football season this past year, I was like, wow, not very many quarterbacks can make that throw. Some throws Drew Lock makes is special, but then there's some boneheaded plays where you're just like, what are you doing? And he's ultimately very inconsistent with his accuracy. So I think him sitting behind a quarterback similar to him in Joe Flacco will definitely help him. So I like Drew Lock's future potential. I think he could turn into something and be a capable quarterback in the league, but I think I've talked enough. Let's jump right into your schedule. Let's go over your first 8 games of your season, okay? You got Raiders, Bears, Packers, Jaguars, Chargers, Titans, Chiefs, and Colts, okay? Now, 4 of those games are road games, okay? So you have equally 4 road games and 4 home games, okay? I think you'll lose to the Raiders. I think you'll beat the Bears. You'll lose to the Packers. You'll beat the Jaguars. You'll lose to the Chargers. You'll beat the Titans. You'll beat the Chiefs. And you'll lose at the Indianapolis Colts, okay? I'll explain myself right now. The first 4 games of your season, okay? The Raiders, I think you have a better roster than the Raiders, but I have you splitting with them this year, so don't freak out the fact that I have you losing to them, okay? Look, the Raiders, they have a very good offense, okay? I think they're going to score some points. John Gruden knows what he's doing on offense. Derek Carr really showed some progression at the end of the season. He was, really sinking in what John Gruden wanted from him as a quarterback, okay? He was definitely dissecting the offense a lot better. They added Antonio Brown. They added Trent Brown to their offense. I think that the Oakland Raiders are going to score some points. I think you lose a game at Oakland. I think you turn around and beat the Bears, though. I think the Chicago Bears take a step back because, they do lose Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio was their defensive coordinator last year, and he's now your head coach. So now Vic Fangio, who knows the ins and outs of the Bears, is going to be coaching them. It's a tough place to play in Denver. I think you beat a very good Chicago team at home, but you'll turn around and lose to the Green Bay Packers. I'm not a Broncos fan. I'm a Packers fan, so go Pack go. You have no shot of winning this game. Aaron Rodgers will absolutely torch you guys, even though you do have a very good defense. I don't trust Joe Flacco or Drew Lock to go into Green Bay and beat Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers responds this year, and this is the best defense Aaron Rodgers has ever had since he won the Super Bowl, okay? Jaguars at home. Because you're at home, I'm going to give you a win, okay? Look, Nick Foles, I do think he's definitely a huge upgrade over Blake Bortles, okay? They added to their defense in the draft by drafting Josh Allen, okay? They have Jalen Ramsey. They got Boye. They have a very good, stout defense. But again, I just don't think their offense is going to have enough points to score. This is a defensive shootout. It's going to be a defensive battle between 2 very good defensive teams. I think because you're at home, you get that win. At the Chargers, they're one of the 5 most talented teams in all of football. I understand you split with them last year, but again, I don't know if you're going to split with them this year. I have you losing at the Chargers. They're just a better team. Titans at home. Titans are a very underrated team. They have Derrick Henry. They have a very good offensive line. They have solid wide receivers. A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, pretty good wide receivers. Pretty good tight end too. But again, I'm just not sold on Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota to me is a terrible quarterback. Okay, Marcus Mariota is not the answer in Tennessee. They need to move on from him as soon as they can. I'm not a big Mariota fan. You'll win that game. Chiefs at home. Again, this is a game that could go either way. I know the Chiefs are way more superiorly talented than the Broncos, okay? But again, I think because it's in Denver, a tough place to play, Patrick Mahomes was special. I do believe Patrick Mahomes has the potential to become a top 10 quarterback of all time, and even higher than that. Patrick Mahomes is special. The guy is going to wreck the NFL for many, many years to come, and he has Andy Reid as his head coach. Okay, he's gonna run the NFL for the next couple years. Okay, but again, it's at Denver. Your defense is going to be good. I think that teams now have film on Patrick Mahomes, and I think he takes a slight step back in his sophomore season. I have you guys beating the Chiefs in your house, but I think you'll lose at the Colts. The Colts have the offensive line to block Bradley Chubb and Von Miller. They're a better team than you guys. They have one of the top 3 offenses in all of football. I think the Colts are a Super Bowl contender this year. You'll lose that game. So the next couple games, I'll just go over your next 8 games and then your bye week. Okay, so you got the Browns at home, bye week at the Vikings, at the Bills, Chargers at home, at Texans, at Chiefs, Lions at home, and then Raiders at home. Okay, let's just go over I'll put on the screen your win-loss total in those 8 games, but I'll go over the 4 games. Then I'll just keep going down. Okay, let's start with these next 4 games. The Browns at home. I see you beating the Browns. I know the Browns beat you last year in your house, but again, I think the fact that Vic Fangio is now your head coach. Look, you had that game won. You blew a lead versus the Browns. You had the game won. Baker Mayfield obviously came alive in the 4th quarter. You were not able to sustain your lead. I don't think the Broncos, once they get up in games this year, are going to blow very many leads. I just don't see that happening. Vic Fangio knows how to close guys out as a head coach, in my opinion, I think. Because he's a defensive coordinator, because he has a defensive mentality, and because he has the personnel on defense to help, this Broncos team, I don't see the Broncos blowing many leads if they get up early in the game. Now, Cleveland, obviously the more talented team, but against a tough place to play in Denver, I'm not sold on Cleveland completely being a Super Bowl team this year. I think they'll be very good. I think they'll be very exciting. I don't know if they're good enough to beat the Broncos this time around. Okay, bye week. Okay, at Vikings, I could see this potentially as a win, but again, the Vikings are a much more talented team. You're going to lose that game. At the Bills, I gave you a win. That game could go either way, but again, I think you have a little bit slightly better roster than the Bills. It comes down to the fact that I just don't think Josh Allen could potentially handle the pressure of Von Miller and Bradley Chubb coming at him. Okay, I think you guys win that game, a tight game. I think Philip Lindsay shows up in that game. Chargers at home, I think you'll lose that game. I understand you split with them last year, but again, the Chargers, they are a better team than you. They upgraded in the offseason, adding some players in the draft. They get Hunter Henry back this year. I think they beat you. They're a better team than you guys. At the Texans, that's a loss. If you're going to win some of these road games, the Texans game is one to look for because the Texans have a terrible offensive line. The strength of your team is going to be your defensive line with Draymond Jones, with Von Miller, with Bradley Chubb. But again, I just think Deshaun Watson is too special of a quarterback to lose this game. It's at Houston. If it was in Denver, I'd pick you guys. You almost beat them last year in Denver. But again, I just think that the Texans, you'll lose that game. At the Chiefs, again, better team. Patrick Mahomes, he's not going to lose to you guys twice in the same year. Lions at home, I have that as a loss. The Lions, to me, are a very underrated team. They added to their defensive line with Trey Flowers. They added Mike Daniels in the offseason. Matt Patricia, a very good defensive head coach. I think you'll lose that game. It's an upset win. I think Matthew Stafford's a better quarterback than Joe Flacco at this point. Yep. So then you'll turn around and beat the Raiders at home. You're good enough to split with them this year. So in conclusion, I got the Broncos going 7-9. I think this team is very well constructed, okay? I really do. I like their defense. I like your wide receivers. I like your tight ends now. I actually like your running backs. And I think your offensive line is very underrated. But again, questionable quarterback play, questionable offensive, schematics. I don't think Vic Fangio is a very creative offensive guy. I think he's pretty much all defense. I just don't see this team offensively being able to keep up with teams. I just think the defense is going to keep you guys in games. Okay, now if Philip Lindsay has a breakout season, you might potentially could get to the 8 or 9 win mark. But again, I'm not a believer in Joe Flacco as a quarterback. I think he'll be okay. But again, I just don't think you make a big enough leap and jump. This division is tough too. The Raiders improved this offseason. The Chiefs are just as good as they were last year, okay? Patrick Mahomes in his second year. Another year to look at film, okay? You got the Chargers. They added some players in the draft. So again, it's a tough division, tough schedule. You obviously don't have the talent on offense, in my opinion, but I think the Broncos, honestly, I think a 7-9 season is a pretty successful season for the Broncos in 2019-2020. So, if you agree with this, smash the like button, smash the dislike button if you disagree. Subscribe to my channel if you're new as well. If you're an NFL fan, not a Broncos fan, be sure to subscribe as well. Because I do post a ton of great sports videos weekly and almost every single day if I can. Tell me where I'm right, tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section. It's my favorite thing in the world to do, to make these YouTube videos for you guys. I appreciate you guys for tuning into my channel today. I want to become a sports analyst when I get older. I want to potentially go into a big-time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. Okay, I'm very passionate about this. That's my dream job. I want to become a sports broadcaster or sports analyst and go to a big-time network. So just help this channel grow. Share this channel on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, share it on all social media platforms. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in today. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Have a blessed day. I'm Ghiman McKinney, aka Juice, and I'm out.